Hey, 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 hey. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to The Short Answer. It is always a delight and joy to be here with you, and I'm thrilled to be bringing you The Short Answer once again. So welcome. And before we dig in, there are a few things that I want to share. There are some announcements that I want to make so that I don't forget, because there's lots of fun things coming up for us inside of Morter Institute and for you inside of our beautiful community of people. First of all, I want to thank you guys for joining us, and what an amazing time we've been having lately inside this community. It's been fabulous, a fabulous experience last weekend, and more happening right now, some things that we're planning that are headed your way very shortly. And let me just announce a couple of the bigger courses that are available for you to participate in. We have the Lineage Sedona retreat that has not been in person for a long, long time, and we are in person in Sedona. And they just let me know today that there are a few spots left inside of that program. It is June 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we will be together. You'll have time inside of these beautiful red rocks and the beautiful surroundings of Sedona, Arizona. Lots of amazing energy there that I am working with while we are doing our meditations and our embodiment exercises. And I'm speaking to you about all sorts of things that are the history of consciousness on this planet. And so very fun to work with ancient sacred sites, to work with ancient Lemuria and Atlantis and ancient Egypt, and all sorts of conversations that take place around the esoteric side of quantum reality. So that is June 2, 3, 4, 5. And we also have something coming that is kind of the other end of the spectrum, big scientific research, bringing it forward to you in the form of bioenergetic synchronization technique, the work that my father began developing in the 70s, and I have contributed to and furthered along the way in my work and research on the human system and how we can remove subconscious interference and also facilitate the embodiment of higher states of consciousness in our system for physical healing, and also for spiritual integration and as I said, awakening to higher and higher levels of who we really are and how we can operate in this world. So healing on every level. So that course is about becoming a practitioner. If you would like to work on yourself or on other people in a deeply educated way about how the systems of the body work with energies and the nervous system's impact as well. So lots of beautiful, beautiful work there that I love to share. We also have a JouneyAwake coming that we are headed to France September through October, September 19 through October 2nd this year. So this fall, we are going to France on one of our JouneyAwakes to study the sites of Mary Magdalene, where she was after the crucifixion, and the teachings of the Essenes that the Christed consciousness was all about. So we're going to visit the sites where those teachings were and work with the energies that are ever present there. And I'm very much looking forward to finally being able to deliver that tour after 2 years in the works and the attempts with COVID. So another thing that is coming this summer that I'm collaborating with Celebrate Your Life, called Summer Consciousness Camp at Skamania. It is in Oregon. It is in the Pacific Northwest. Absolutely beautiful site. We've been there before. And what I want you to realize about this program that perhaps hasn't been really articulated inside of the marketing materials is that there are going to be many healing practices done. So it's Camp for Consciousness. So we're elevating our consciousness while we're having fun at summer camp and all kinds of activities of embodiment along the way. But I really want you to get that it's about healing, it is about integration, it's about raising your vibration, and it is about truly learning how to implement that in life in lots of very fun ways to do so. So if you want to come out and play and engage in all sorts of camp type activities, but with a literal engagement of embodiment associated with it, then that's what we're all about. That is in August. So it's August 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's an in-person event, one of the few that I'm doing this year, and it is a wonderful opportunity for you to be involved in a healing type retreat where we're doing healing practices all day long. So just mark that on your calendar as well. And then, of course, the monthly healing transmissions. We have one Wednesday, May 25th at 8:30 p.m. And to register for that, it is free, and it is an attempt that we are engaging in to bring the world together into a healing tonation and a vibrational frequency. So it's a meditation and a healing transmission that is happening. So please tell your friends and gather lots of people around and participate in this. It's a wonderful way for you to contribute and to receive at the same time, and it doesn't get any better than that, right? And we're giving and receiving simultaneously. So you go to monthlyhealingtransmission.com and register, and we will take it from there and take care of you and embrace you inside of a wonderful vibration that we get to slow things down and open it up and really be in the space of wholeness. So that's it. All right. So the short answer for today is about recognizing that it's all about you. Okay. So good news, bad news. It's not really bad news, but it is actually all about you. It's all about me. So just say it. Just say it with me right now. It's actually all about me. So if something isn't happening in your life the way that you would love for it to be happening, then there is something on the inner realm here that isn't happening, that could be happening more freely, more fluidly, more robustly, and more creatively. It starts with you embracing parts of you that you've not embraced before. It starts with a humble surrender, That was going to come out like a sumble horrender, and so maybe it's that. But I want you to get this. The humble surrender into the authentic self, that self that feels intimidated or that feels afraid, or that self that wants to go but doesn't think it knows how, and that self that is actually quite whole and present, that believes that it's not heard or that it's not loved or that it's not significant or important. All of those beliefs and those ideas and perspectives that have been stuffed back there in the subconscious have been having an effect on you for the whole of your life. And it is time for us to start to recognize that it shows up in our projection out into the world. So remember this. The cosmos is funneling and channeling into the earth, and it rises in a system called the toric field flow that we reference inside of all of our teachings, and we'll be talking about, no doubt, later in the master class as we always roll from here into a deeper discussion. So just know that there's information in the chat about how you can join us for the master class, and it's something that you really need to plug into if you haven't, because we get to learn all about this on a deeper level. But if you will, just in this moment, remember that the entire cosmos is channeling and funneling and channeling and is revealing as you. And you're in the frontier of that. So science is showing us that out on the outer edge of that toric field is where consciousness is bumping into the density of physical matter. And right there, we experience friction. So if you're experiencing friction right now in your life in any way, it is a byproduct of you not being as awake to the truth of who you are out there on that cutting edge, out there on the frontier where you interface with people and circumstances and timing and schedules and responsibilities and relationships and communication and all those things that are our challenges in life. Now, the reason that it becomes more challenging out there on the frontier is when we're not grounded and embodied and integrated in the deep core channel of who we are. And so if we're not grounded and embodied and integrated in this deep core channel of who we are, what happens is there is a wobble, there's a ripple that gets occurring, and as that energy is rising through the body, it picks up this wobble, which creates a distortion in the energy field that you're walking around in. When you're in here and looking out through a distorted energy field, it's constantly agitating you. It's constantly irritating. It is constantly causing you to interpret your external circumstances as the problem instead of you witnessing, realizing, sensing, and feeling, actually, the wobble is starting in here. And because I don't notice it, because I've been projecting my attention out there all my life, I sense a problem and I point my attention at, oh, it must be you. Oh, it must be that. Oh, it must be this set of circumstances that is causing this feeling. And I want you to get, it is the opposite of that. The feeling is here, and then the projection happens, and it becomes this issue in the outer world. And the byproduct of that is we think it's coming from the outer world. We try to get the outer world to change so that we'll be okay. And the outer world isn't going to change because the outer world is actually a projection of our own consciousness. It's so wild. It's so crazy wild. So we walk around chasing our tails, boxing with our shadow, trying to get it to look different than we do, when in reality, the reflection can only be the reflection. It's not about what's in the mirror. It's not about what's on the movie screen. We are projecting it onto that movie screen. So if you're up against the friction, it's not about the movie. It's not about the mirror. It's about what's being thrown onto that movie screen or being reflected back to you from here. It's not about that. It's about this. So I don't mean for that to be like, oh, great, it's all about you. You know, it's yours, deal with it. I mean, it's all about you, and you can change it. And what we're doing inside of the energy codes and all of the programs that I am teaching, whether they're short or long, what I'm doing inside of all of them is teaching you how to do something about that, how to perceive it differently, how to recognize from a priority basis, where do I start? Where do I even begin? Because there's so much in my life that is so stressful. Where do I even begin? It isn't about changing that and changing that and changing them and changing that and changing this. It's simple. Let's drop inside and learn how to love self in a way that we've not learned before. Learn how to embrace some aspect of you that hasn't been embraced yet. And the only way to do that is be sincere. Drop in and stop thinking that it's about that or them. It's about here. I have resistance. I have a blockage. I have something inside here that isn't hooked up yet, that isn't allowing me to experience my fullness. And when I'm not able to experience my fullness, I need my external environment to be a certain way, or I don't feel safe. I don't feel okay. So if we're becoming conditional or controlling about that external environment, it's not about the environment. It's about, whoa, there's some parts of me that I just haven't been embracing. I haven't been loving them. And so, of course, the parts of me that are out here engaging feel ill-equipped, but they're not. It's just that they've been marginalizing and pushing aside other parts of us that are required to meet the present moment when we're saying out of one side of our mouths, I want to grow, I want to evolve, I want it to be bigger, I want it to be better, I want it to be different in some way, or I want it to be deeper, I want it to be more fulfilling or more loving or more kind or more intimate in some way. If we're wanting all those things, what's going to happen is the universe is going to say, okay, person here, person A, interested in expansion, let's blow it up a little bit. Let's start blowing up the balloon and allowing their sphere of engagement to be a little larger. And the moment it starts to get bigger, wait a minute, it's not supposed to be that way. Wait a second, I wasn't ready. I was just kidding. I don't know what to do with all of this. Just breathe, you guys, just breathe. Breathe yourself back into your body. Get into the energy codes if you haven't been to some degree. Find out what these anchor points are. Read the book. Do something. Ask about it on Facebook. Find out what's going on here. Find a way to get with me so that I can explain it to you and show you how to do it in a way that you drop inside and you're okay, no matter what is going on around you. And in the face of that, you will start to recognize there's actually a part or parts of me that I've been shoving down that I even forgot that I had, that are actually representative of my okayness, more of my fullness, more of the wholeness of my being, more of the completion of who and what I actually am, the bigness of me. So it's all right here. It's just either in front of these eyes or behind these eyes. And if you don't like what is in front of these eyes being reflected back to you, then there's something behind these eyes that has not yet been embraced, has not yet been discovered or allowed or celebrated or loved into or remembered. And so what we're basically doing is going back and finding those versions of us that were kind of left standing on the curb, waiting, like, I know they'll be back any time. And, 20 years went by, 30 years went by. And so we are now like getting it. I'm going back in. I'm going to pick up and scoop up these parts of me that got left behind. So please allow yourselves to realize that you can change anything, but it isn't by changing it. It's about allowing what's happening in this body to be more wholly whole and full and complete and integrated. Learn to build the circuits for that integration to happen with ease so that all of you can come forward and you can lean in to circumstances and situations and conversations and projects and ideals that you have. You can walk into the visions that you have for your lives and they will unfold. They cannot not, if we're allowing the wholeness of the cosmic mind, the universal intelligence to pour through us, hit the ground, rise up through us without distortion, without suppression, without interference, and project out in front of us a movie that we love walking into, a life that we love living and one that we love sharing, one that is filled with trust and faith and belief and knowingness without even trying to have to cultivate those qualities. They are here for you. And so, it's all about you. Good news, great news, okay? Good news, great news is it's all about you. If it's not happening in your life, it's because it's not happening right here inside this system. And the greatest news is you've stumbled upon a community that is based upon a teaching that is 100% devoted on making sure that you know how to clean this up, open this up, and allow this to be fluid and flowing and creative, and knowing that what's going to roll out here is better than what you'd have ever thought about ahead of time. Because to be real and to be authentic, it happens in the real moment. So we plan and we organize and we create things, but we remain open, flexible, and pliable, all the while embracing the parts of us that are intimidated or that are afraid. All that it requires is that you go in to where you're feeling that and start loving into those aspects of you and learning how to do the central channel breath and anchoring yourself and building the circuits to sustain that. All right? We've got this. Life is answering the call. And the call was enough of us wanted it to be bigger and more expansive. And so right now we're in a great scrub down in that friction point right out there on the surface. It's never been more important for us to be anchored and centered and integrated here so that that distortion in the field gets harmonized and we can see life for what it really is. Always prodding you to awaken to your greatness. So thank you for joining me for the short answer. I hope it's been helpful. And I hope to see you at one of the events that I've mentioned here. There's a lot ahead of us, lots of healing, lots of opening, lots of creative visioning. And these kinds of programs are how you do it. So that's the short answer for now. I'll see you next month for another. And I hope to see you lots of times in between. Much love to you all. Bye for now. Join us at the masterclass. Much more coming in just a few moments at the bottom of the hour. Okay? We'll see you there.